All right, y'all. Peace. How y'all feeling? How y'all feel? Today will be an interesting, very, very interesting conversation. Let's dive straight into it. Why the land business may not be for everyone, right? This business just may not be for everyone. These days, we get hit with a lot of people looking to contact us with a variation of a bunch of different things, whether that's questions about owning land, how they can get involved, how they can make money from land ownership, what to do with land, and things of that nature. Um, we see everything. Do we get a chance to respond to everything? No, we don't. We don't get a chance to respond to everything. However, we do get a chance to see that things are constantly coming in. And through our evaluation and through our data, you don't do something on a daily basis and don't start to pick up on what the rhythm of or feel of what the people are requesting, not asking for. So we know now. We have a great idea of what it is that people are looking to get from the Acre Boys. Overall, it's a positive sentiment, right? People like the message of owning land, right? I think we all know that. It makes sense to get back into land ownership because I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. When this culture, people that look like this shade of color was thriving and doing their best, it's when they were in possession and of land. When we own more land, when we own land and farms, that's the reason why. For those that may not know, the Acre Boys run two programs. We run a land flipping program. That overall program shows you just how to get land for a discounted price. If you decide to flip that land for a profit, then so be it. We want to show you how to target land in any given area and get it for a discounted price, right? And we position ourselves by aligning with a real life farmer, and we have Acre Boys Farming. That is the reason why we chose those two industries, because this is when we were doing best as a culture. We have to get back to those numbers we were once hitting, right? And that's the tall task. That's what we're up against. It's not an easy task, but it is the mission that was given to us, and here we are. Now, one thing why I said that the land business may not be for everybody, right? The reason that I say that is that I'm well aware of everybody might not be me. And some will be, and some because I'm not the only one that has this personality, but many people don't have it. I have a personality that says I will not be denied. I'm a winner, and winners win. That is my belief. No one can tell me different. All I need to know is figure things out and how they work, and then I'm going to make them work. I am smart enough to do homework on things before I get involved in them, right? And why do I say that? Same reason 8 years ago, before I got inside or involved in this industry, I've done my homework on this industry. And everything that I research in this industry have proven and shown to me that this industry has stood the test of time. When I look into other wealthy people's portfolio and what they have done, right? If you follow wealth and study wealth, and you start to see, well, even current date, not even old money, even new money, and you start to look at what people made who made a lot of money, what they placed their money on, you'll always find real estate inside of their portfolio. If you study old money, you always find real estate and farms inside of their portfolio. So what does that say to me? 8 years ago, it said to me that, well, if it worked for that person, it can work for me. Now, some of us, we need more proof of concept, because some of us have this mind frame and say, well, that worked for a whole nother culture. It didn't work. I don't see myself being that shade of skin. So maybe it worked for them. It may not work for me, right? And I may, a tad bit, I may have an understanding of why you think like that. But now there's no excuse, because now in the days that we live in, just look up, go to Chat GBT and look up someone that looks like you that has great success, and you'll find the same exact thing, that once they have cracked into these financial barriers that you may feel like you can't crack into, you'll find that they invest in real estate of some sort. At the primary root of the word real estate is land. You cannot have any form of real estate without having land. It is the primary resource. You can't have a building. You can't have commercial buildings. You can't do residential homes. None of it exists unless it is sitting on what you're standing on or sitting on. Wherever you're at, you are interacting with a piece of land unconsciously. Right now, even now, me sitting where I'm at recording this, it's on a plot of land. I think we all have an understanding of that. So most of us, why I say we won't survive, or you won't survive in this business, is because first, most of us, times move so fast, we don't even pause to go and do homework on what we're getting involved in, right? Because we need outlets. We need outlets, different asset class that will give us alternative means of investing. And if you're going to invest, why not choose a class or an asset class or a vehicle that has been proven to work, not just for your culture, but for every other culture that has decided to interact with it. There's no link, there's no barrier of entry. So I think let's kill that, because a lot of us think that, oh, that I can't invest, or we're restricted from investing in land. And that is not true. I live in New York. You know where I invest heavily the most at? I invest the most in Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And we all know the history of Mississippi. So how am I thriving in Mississippi from New York with this shade of skin? There is no restrictions on this that says that you cannot be involved in this space. And I'm just telling my story. So the first thing we have to do is understand the business, understand the asset class. And I'm well aware that I'm talking to grown-ups on the other end of this message, because our data says that we resonate most with adults from the ages of 34 through the ages of 70. Now, what does that mean? And what does that mean to us? That means that you've been programmed by the time you're 34. So whatever your deep, hardened beliefs are, it's hard to reprogram grown folk. That's why I say this business won't work for everybody, because you have some deep-rooted beliefs. Sure, you want to interact with land, but then most of us, when we find out what it really takes to be successful in the business of land ownership and real estate, most of us won't survive. The minute that we find out there's some work that has to be put into this, most of us don't have the tenacity or the fortitude to do anything for an extended period of time besides go to somebody else's job. You've built that muscle up. And you've said, I have to feed myself, which is understandable. But most of us have built the muscle up and the tenacity to continue to go to a place that we're unhappy going to without even attempting to do one thing about it. I'm unhappy here, but we have forced ourselves or programmed ourselves that this is something that I must do, and I won't come up with or even attempt a solution to counter that. See, I was the total opposite. I never was that person. Me, myself, I'm just telling my story now. I never believed in a regular 9-to-5 job. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Did I work a 9-to-5 job? Yes, I did. We have to put food on the table. I worked it till I didn't have to work it anymore because I didn't believe in it. I don't believe in the concept of it. Me, myself. Who's going to treat me better than me? I've never seen a job or any job that I've heard of say, hey, sir or madam, come into my office. Let me give you this blueprint on how you're going to get out of here in 5 to 7 years. No, they do everything to keep you locked in. And when they think that you may want to leave, they usually give you a small raise. And that brings you right back in. Now, This is not for everybody. Everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. Let's just dispel that. I'm not telling everybody. I used to say when I started this business, I don't understand why everybody is not an entrepreneur. Now I'll explain to you why. Now I have a better understanding, right? This is not for everybody. Everybody shouldn't be an entrepreneur. Some people just need to be workers because the input that goes into being an entrepreneur might scare some people to death. If you don't have thick skin, you won't survive in the entrepreneurial space because you will deal with every emotion. It will be ups, there will be downs, there will be highs, there will be lows. And there's no sense of security. At least on the job, for regular people, you have sense of security. You know, Monday through Friday, or to some degree, you have sense of security. And you know that Monday, I'll be able to get up at whatever time you go in and I'll have a job. They'll pay me X, Y, and Z. You'll go in, you'll trade your time for dollars, whatever that agreed amount is. Now, my problem with those people is most of those people say they have aspirations and dreams of wanting more. But if you have those aspirations and dreams of wanting more, you didn't sign up for those. You signed up for what they're paying you for. Let's have a real conversation. And the job probably didn't seek after you. You probably sought after the job. You signed up for it. And that's not the worst thing. The worst thing is that you're not doing anything about it. What do you need to do something about it? You need to have some alternative streams of income. Whether, I don't care. Now we just having a real conversation. If you're a female, if you braid hair on the side, if you're a male, if you decided to wash cars on the side, have something to do, something to move toward to your goals and aspirations. It's 2000 headed into 2026. I'm not saying every program, I'm not saying every course creator is a good one. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are plenty of them out there these days for you to test the market and test the waters to see where you can fit in at. So when it comes to land, in entrepreneurship, you have to be consistent. And that's where we fall short at. Most of us fall short at that. How do I know that? Because even inside of our community to this day, people, they pay for the program, right? They pay for the program and they don't even go through all of the material. And that always leaves me scratching my head. You paid but didn't go through the material and then say, I don't know if this is for me. Well, probably is not for you. If you won't even go through the material, it probably won't work for you. So that's what I mean about the inconsistencies. Do you know, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, in the days that we live in, while most people won't become entrepreneurs or succeed at becoming an entrepreneur, because most people won't do anything for an extended period of time. For the Acre Boys to be in the position that we are in, this is not the most sexy topic. This is not a message that's leading inside of our culture. It's not going head to head with music or going head to head with anything else that is moving the culture. It's becoming more prevalent. We're doing a good job at speaking about it on a daily basis. But when we started this, it wasn't a lot of people talking about land ownership. That's just the facts. I've done my homework before I decided to even come on this mission. It just wasn't a whole lot of people. And it still is not a whole lot of people on a grand scale. So we said, in order for this message to pop, in order for people to start to get this message, how do we make this message cool? That's how we came up with the name, the Acre Boys. Oh, ding, ding, ding. It has a ring to it. Acre Boys has a ring to it. It says that we're doing something in land. I think people will like that. Now we're just brainstorming. See, in this space, we don't have a blueprint. There's no reference point. So now I'm up against a double whammy, right? There's no reference point for me to look at and say, well, he done that in that form, shape, or fashion. We can maybe emulate that or put our own spin on it. There's no reference point. Everything that we're doing is trial and error. in having success at it. So where do we go? What do we show people that may even make them lend an ear or an eye to this space? What do we show them? What do I show them, Jay? Let's show them some properties that we bought and sold. Let's show them a couple of acres. I think they'll like that because inherently it runs through your DNA that this culture is attached to acres and acreage. That's why the word 40 acres always resonates with us when we hear 40 acres because of the history of what 40 acres stand for. Now, how do we make this cool? I don't know. Maybe we'll put some hip hop music behind it or some instrumentals behind it and just tell the truth about it. Maybe we'll start exposing how you can make money using these practices and so on and so forth. But that wasn't the gist of it. To take it a step further, how often did we have to do this? We started off with one a day, doing a post once a day. We committed to once a day. Committed. First, you have to commit. We committed to once a day. It was moving slow. It was moving slow. People started to hear about it. People started to see. I like what you're doing. Can you come over here and speak about that? Yeah, sure. We can come over here and speak about that. You get booked for one talk. You get booked for another talk. Then you had to fly out. Now, here's where you will probably, I don't know who it is, but most would probably fall off at. The minute that you have to start flying out and leaving your home to spread this message for free, no money attached, most of you would have checked out. I can't do that. But that is our story. That's our journey. We had to leave our home to go across the country, California to be specific, to speak for free. Just because we wanted this message to spread. Why are we going to California? Well, it's probably a good idea to get some steam behind the message and some steam behind our name. The hardest part in any business is the beginning. It's the hardest part. Now it's easier for the message to spread because now there's some, it has gotten out there and some people believe in you. So it makes other people. Everybody wants what everybody else wants. But in the beginning, when nobody wanted it, people just watched from the sideline and said, what's that? So that's the toughest part. And that's why most of us, whether in business, being an entrepreneur, that's why most of us never survive, because we have that mentality of, I'm going to poke it with a stick to see if it works. And that is the fastest way to failure. You have to fully commit and see it all the way through until, keyword, until. That's a comma, not a period after the word until. Until. How long is until it works? I don't know. But we've committed to pumping this message out until it sticks. Until could be 1 year, until could be 2 years, it could be 10 years. So the language of business, it's all the same. We're just using the vehicle called the land business, but the language of business is the same. It's not the vehicle. It's the people that's driving the vehicle that has committed until it works. So if you want to jump inside of this space, there's a lot of opportunity in this space, but this is for the right person. This has nothing to do with land. It has everything to do with who you are. If you don't believe this won't work, it won't work. If you are on the fence, 50-50 of if it will work, it won't work. Because how can one student make $100,000 a month, then the same student come in, another student come in, get the same lessons and make $0? Was it the lessons or was it the student? It was the student. That's why I say it's not for everybody. Some of us don't even understand that this is a business, right? This is a business. This functions off of LLCs and W-2s and tax returns, just like any other business. And business has a language. You have to show up every single day in business. Even if you have a job, a 9-to-5 job, you have to carve out time every day for your business, whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour. Clearly, the more time that you can spend with your business, the faster the vehicle will move. Can it be done? Absolutely, it could be done because I sat in those shoes before. I went to work, I came home at night, and I combed through tax sale lists on a daily basis. Whether I was buying something or whether I was just combing through it for information, I put time into it on a daily basis. So most of us, we don't have that kind of tenacity. Other thing is you have to reprogram yourself as an adult. You first have to say to yourself, you first have to admit that you're on a program, good program or bad program. More than likely, you're on a bad program. And I'm not talking down on anybody because me, myself, I'm still getting rid of an old program that I've been on for years. It's not easy to reprogram yourself when you grew up for years and years, all through your teenage years, all through your 20s and 30s. You have habits. You get out of the bed the same way. You brush your teeth the same way. You eat with the same hand. We have habits. We are habitual creatures. And we take those same habits into our business. If you won't do anything, if you don't make your bed up in the morning, you probably won't check up on your business on a daily basis. So reprogramming yourself. We had to reprogram ourselves and still reprogramming ourselves. What do I mean by that? When we started doing this business and when we start thriving in this business is when we started listening to seminars. We cut the radio off. We cut the TV off. We got in a different mind frame. We put ourselves in a different environment, a different way of thinking. We started listening to business seminars. We started hanging out around people that was doing better than us. We started, as I said, we started flying to different conventions just to be around different people, to pick up a different energy. It's not the business of land that you think that has, we're doing so well in. It's the business of reprogramming and changing ourselves into businessmen. The vehicle works because history has shown that millions have invested in it and have seen success. And millions have invested in it and have not seen success. So this is a personal journey. Can you make it work? But it's going to take some things that you're going to have to change to make it work. And you are going to be the person that has to change. And you're going to have to commit to it until it works. Or what most people do, they give themselves a timeline. If it don't work in 6 months, then I'm gonna take that crypto class that I said I was thinking about. If it don't work in 8 months, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go over here and flip houses. Scatterbrain. And then you'll do the same thing when you get to the house flipping course. You'll do the same thing. If this doesn't work in 6 months, then I'm gonna go over here and you're all over the place. All right. Then the other thing is that we have to understand as a coach. I'm just checking time because I have a 2:00 call. The other thing that we have to understand as a coach is that it takes money. You have to have some money to do business. Oh, you know how many people contact us to say, I'm ready to do. Even they contact us and they say, I have some property. I don't know what to do with it. So I say, all right, well, what's the budget to do something with it? Well, I'm figuring that out. Well, what do you want me to do then? You want me to drop a bag of money off in a plan for you? It doesn't work like that. You don't go to the supermarket with no money. We have to have money. And we don't talk about money. Like, why don't we in our culture, this is not a we don't talk about money. We talk about everything else, but we don't talk about money. Talk about the shade room, we talk about the basketball games, Sunday football, all kind of stuff, but we won't talk about money. I don't get it. And money is not everything. I'm not saying that, but it is something that you deal with or interact with on a daily basis. While you're watching the football game, the TV doesn't just cut on for free. You're being charged to watch it. Miss Taylor said, I may be missing something with you today. I just got a different energy today. Sometimes we be on a different frequency. And these things, sometimes we just want to teach. And sometimes I can teach till I'm blue in the face. I can give you every step of the way. I can tell you where the tax sale auction is at. I can tell you which properties to invest in. And I promise you, if I gave it to 10 people, maybe want to do something with it. If I drop a list right now and I say, come back to me in 60 days and tell me what you found, how many people you think could come back? So it's not about me teaching. It's not about me telling people where to go find the best deals at. They're not going to do nothing with it anyway if it's not the right person. Because the minute that I give you the list, if it looks complicated, they're going to turn it off. Can't figure this out. Just a fact. That's why, today I said, I don't want to talk about how to do it. Because people are not going to do it. The fastest way to do it, to be honest with you, is to join the mentorship and take the training where it's concentrated teachings, concentrated lessons, where you can fast forward it, where you can rewind it, where you can implement the steps at the same time while you're learning. That's the fastest way to do it. Instead of trying to piece off information that we sporadically give, because there's no system. This is not like a systematic message. It's not like I'm saying on Monday, I'm going to teach you the first steps of tax deed investing. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to give you the place. Then on Wednesday, I'm going to tell you which property. Then on Thursday, I'm going to tell you how to evaluate the properties. We go live when we have the chance to go live. And whatever's at the top of our mind for that day, that's what we speak about. So people they're taking broken down messages. Because why? Because they're scared to invest in themselves, right? But the fastest way to expedite all of that, if for anybody that's serious about land investing, is just to join the program and do the thing. Like, you don't go buy a shirt and you buy the sleeve and you say, I'll get the chest of the shirt later on, and then I'll get the left sleeve next week. You go and buy the shirt. Call you back. I'm on the live. All right. So when people are really ready to do land, then they'll do land. They'll pay the price, the premium for mentorship, and they'll do it. And that's where you'll get us in whole. You'll get step by step. That's why certain investors inside of our program, they have my direct phone number and they can call me and say, hey, Ray, I have a deal. This is what's going on with the deal. Right? That's what's going on with the deal. How do we do this? How do we do that? And that's really what we want to do. Like, we deal with so many people now that and we're constantly talking, we won't ever get everybody involved. That's just the truth of the matter. But how do we get most people involved, right? How do we do that? And I'm not the guy that think money. Because only thing that I do request for money is the program, is the course. But there is other ways that we can help. Everybody may not want to take a course. That's just the facts. Everybody may not want the course. Some people just have questions. And truly, we do this for the culture. We get all kind of stuff. I had a guy that sent us something in the inbox the other day. I have 1,200 acres in East Texas. Can you help? We have a guy in Arizona that inboxed us and said, my family, my grandfather left me a whole town in Arizona. Can you help? Somebody hit me the other day. I got 87 acres in Mississippi. I don't know what to do with it. Can you help? I want to help everybody, but it's only us. So we constantly saying, how can we help the most? Because everybody don't want to do a land flipping program. So we said, maybe we'll come up with something. Maybe we'll come up with a community, a low ticket community. Why is it low ticket? Because it's somebody out there saying, well, anytime you mention paying for anything, they cringe. It's low ticket because it costs to run a community. I want y'all to have that understanding. It costs for these cost creators to house and host their community. First of all, it's a monthly fee. Second of all, it costs for somebody to oversee that community. So there has to be a fee involved. As with everything else, we just, it just doesn't, these things just don't happen unless you want the free. That's what we're doing now. Facebook, Instagram, and I'm saying that you're going to get pieces of it. And I'm saying that the fastest way, what if I had a whole community? I don't know, 10,000 people, 20,000 people. And then when somebody comes that look like me and says, I got 87 acres in Mississippi, can you help? And I say, drop it in the community. Now I'm helping because now the whole community could see it at one time. I can't take that and put it on the social media post. For one, I don't own it. I don't own the platform and I don't own that person's land. But if I had a page in a space that would allow them to post their property and say, I need help with this property. I don't know what kind of resources. I don't know who is in Mississippi. That is what we've been talking about putting together. Because now I can say, well, X, Y, and Z lives in Mississippi. They have a land clearing company, or they have a forestry company, or they have a title, or whatever they may have that can help the person out. Now we can direct and cultivate community. I got 1,200 acres in East Texas. Well, I'm not in East Texas. I don't have boots on the ground in East Texas. I only can give you general information, but inside of a community, right? Inside of a community, I can say, well, X, Y, and Z, or I can drop in there and say, if you're from East Texas and you know how, or anybody that can help out with this 1,200 acre project, chime in. She says school community. Exactly. And that's what we're talking about curating, because it's not just about our land flipping program. When you're ready to flip land, we're here. I've been doing that for 8 years. I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm just being totally honest with you that it will cost you, and that won't be a low ticket for that. But the community aspect of it, that'll be a low ticket, so we all can congregate and we can put these things in front of you. So you can hear about these stories. We'll be doing interviews inside of the community with people that owns these things. Then you'll hear from them firsthand about how they acquired it and how they got to the point they're at. So the overall message is to inspire, inform, and motivate. That's it. With hopes that the culture taps in. That's it. That's overall. Overall, that's the message. And we say we'll be helping ourselves while helping others. Because if we're not good, then we can't take on this mission. We can't take on this journey if we're not good, if we're not comfortable financially, mentally, spiritually, physically. If all of those things ain't present for the Acre Boys, we cannot take on this mission. You need resources to be effective. The more resources we have, the more we can do, the more we can bring to the table. And what happens? We have to strip it away from these free platforms we own, because what happens if tomorrow, if Facebook says you're in violation, and it happened to us before, you're in violation of Facebook's policies and standards, and they stripped away some things from us, and I wasn't in violation of anything, but someone reported it as fraud. So that's why we need to have our own private communities. I got properties for sale. Oh, I just got off the phone with a code enforcement of the city of Atlanta that wants to give me properties that they have code enforcement have liens on. He wants to give them to me, evaluate them, and see what we want so we can put them on the market. I don't put everything on social media, but inside of a curated space, then we can talk about doing that. Then we can talk about community building. Then we can talk about crowdfunding and things like that. Why should we talk about crowdfunding? Because that's only what every other culture does. They don't buy these projects by themselves. It's a group. How do I know that? Because I deal with other land investors, and most of them that's beyond the Acre Boys, I know what they do. I had a conversation with one 2-3 weeks ago. Started out at the same time of us. He said, I don't do little deals no more. We're only doing, larger acreage deals, 200 acres, 300 acres. We just bought an island. You just bought an island? Well, who you buying an island with? Oh, yeah, I'm with a group. I joined this group. We formed the LLC. That's how it works. And until you start to move like that, you won't make no imprint or no dent in these margins. We are so far behind in. Now, how does that work with Black culture? It may not work because we don't trust each other. Why we don't trust each other, Ray? Because people took the money. Yeah, people took the money. Those that came before us, they promised things, didn't deliver on them. They took the money. Real estate has a bad name when it comes to crowdfunding in this culture because it has never worked. I mean, in certain sectors, certain people in their groups, things have happened. But that is the way to go. All right, I got 5 minutes. I got to jump on another call. I had some really good energy. And I'm gonna just leave on this note: is people bet on yourself. Are you a risk taker? Or are you a person that plays it safe? Are you a risk taker? Or are you a person that plays it safe? Everyone that has acquired something that's worth mentioning had to take some type of risk, in some shape, form, or fashion. I would say if you're not a risk taker, just walk the edge a little bit. Make sure you do your homework on what you're getting involved because you have to take some risk. I find that the people that have the most to lose, those are the ones that take the most risk. The people that have nothing to lose, they take no risk. Playing it safe may not be the best way to view this thing. You have to take some risks, calculated risks. Do your homework on the spaces that you want to be involved in. Do your homework on the people that you trust to deliver the message and make decisions. Don't sit on the fence. And you can speak to us too. Like if a community feel is something that may work for you best, then say community feel. We are working on that as well. If flipping land for you to generate income to get you to other aspirations and goals works for you, text the number 313-930-8483, and then we'll talk about how we can help. And we're being totally transparent. Don't text the number if you're not prepared to get started. All right. Because we're looking for those that's looking to take action. All right. So text that number if you're ready to take action. Otherwise than that, everybody else, enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing. Enjoy your if you celebrate Halloween, I don't, but if you celebrate Halloween, be safe out there and enjoy it. All right. Peace, love.